Howdy, welcome back to Dion Talk. In this video, I want to cover threats to your retirement. A couple of things in the house hacking, or they call it housekeeping at the beginning of a meeting, which I don't have to go to anymore, ever again. But the first thing is, at the end of this video, if my memory doesn't kick in, I'm going to talk about how we can save BiggerPockets. Second, why the glasses? Joe Kuhn, who has a very successful YouTube channel and gives great advice, has advised me not to wear them because when you don't wear glasses, people can see your eyes and they might trust you more. But the YouTube algorithm on my 2 viral videos said I have a face made for radio and that the more of it that I cover, the more you watch. So let me know, glasses or no glasses, in the comments below. So threats to your retirement. First, why do I talk about retirement? I'm a financial independence guy, right? I reached financial independence by investing, putting my money to work so that I don't have to, so that I could retire, but you don't have to retire. But why are so many of my videos about retirement? And the idea is, and why threats to your retirement are so important on your financial journey. There is a dog barking a lot. They don't like bald people. They're prejudiced. Dogs are racist. I don't think the barking is going to stop. You have to have a reason why you're investing. Your financial freedom reason might not be retirement, but it might be financial freedom so you can go work a job that you love, not one that you have to do for the money. So a lot of my videos talk about retirement, but really what I'm talking about is your investing. If your investing goes well and you educate yourself, you're more likely to be able to do that thing you want to when you reach financial freedom, even if that's taking a job that just is something that fills your soul instead of your bank account. So the first threat, there's 2 versions of this first threat to your retirement. The first one, people are familiar with. I've heard people talk about this a lot. It is called not now-itis. When it comes to retirement, the way we look at this is one more year, right? I'm going to retire, but not now. You get stuck in that not now-itis. And the way it becomes an itis is because it's perpetual. It perpetuates itself. You think, okay, one more year does a few positive things for me. The first thing it does is it gives me another year to save, to invest. More money invested is going to give me a better retirement. I can follow the logic. But it also gives you one more year of work that is not funded by your assets, making retirement, again, easier. So there are a lot of arguments to say, not now, wait another year. And if you wait another year, it's going to be better. Where does that end, right? Warren Buffett, doing great, 80-something years old, still working. He's got one more year itis. This might be related to how I save BiggerPockets at the end of this video. But that's the part that people are familiar with not now-itis. The part that people don't think about with not now-itis is more important and has nothing to do with retirement. It has to do with you right now, today. So many people that we know, I know personally, don't save and don't invest at all because of not now-itis. They are literally going, when I make more, when I get the promotion, when I get married, when I take care of this debt, when I, long list of reasons that are almost all stupid, I will save and I will invest then. Because of number 2, I'll point out the second big threat to your retirement. I'll point out why this is a bad idea. Saving isn't something we do once we make more, right? You don't just magically go, okay, I'm making more, now I'm going to save. Saving is something we learn to do very little of, a very small amount, 50 cents a month, a change a month, that is now measured and can be improved. And as you make more, you can save more. Because here's what happens. The second biggest threat to your retirement. So first we got not now-itis. The second biggest threat is inflation. And it isn't that inflation makes things cost more in the future, right? When you reach financial freedom, if you're educating yourself with people like Joe Kuhn, One Rental at a Time, myself, Azul, anybody who's either growing a business, investing in stocks or real estate, or finding a way to own assets so you don't have to sell your life 1 hour at a time to make money to survive, those are assets that often benefit from inflation, right? There's a bunch of people saying, look, the economy is better than it's ever been because the stock market is hitting all-time highs until last week. Well, yeah, it's hitting all-time highs. We've devalued the currency so much with inflation that it takes more currency to buy the stock, so they're worth more. We go, housing has to crash because prices are too high. High prices have never once caused a housing crash. Prices are high because we've devalued the currency, so it takes more currency to buy the properties, takes more currency to rent the properties. We benefit from inflation. That's not the threat to retirement. The threat to retirement with inflation is impacting you now today before you retire. I will save when I make more is a fundamentally flawed argument that falls apart as soon as you realize that almost in all cases, inflation outpaces wage growth. Yes, sometimes you might get a good cost of living raise. You might change companies. You might change careers and increase your income. There might be blurps in your timeline where you outpaced inflation. But most years, inflation happens to the things we actually consume, right? The food, the rent, the mortgage, the insurance. Faster growth than your wages grow. So if you go, when I make more, I'll save more. Okay, so you made more, but things cost more. So now you can't save at all. You start saving a little. As you make more, you figure out ways to improve and increase that number. Inflation is a huge threat to your investing, which then becomes a threat to your retirement, because if you don't save and you don't invest, you don't retire. The third thing that is a huge threat to your retirement and your investing is legislation. But again, I always look at things a little bit different. If you're looking at inflation as how it impacts your saving, that impacts your retirement. Legislation isn't the threat. Whatever changes are made aren't the threat. It's almost like Congress is full of people who own assets that keep making laws that benefit people who own assets. So if you're investing in stocks or real estate, there will be changes in the future that sometimes are threatening, but almost always work out to where it's okay so people get voted back into office. What the biggest threat with legislation is your awareness of legislation. If something like nationwide rent control is threatened, yeah, I'm going to make a lot more money because I'm going to have to raise rents on my tenants every year. Instead of, like, I just renewed a lease yesterday with a tenant whose lease is up in December. I reached out to him and I said, hey, we had a big increase last year because we did the binder strategy. You asked for the rent to go up. So this year, if you'd like to renew the lease, same rent, no change. Probably not one next year too. But if rent control goes through, or it gets talked about on a more serious note, that's not going to happen and you're going to get an increase. Being aware of that takes away the threat. Are you aware of the changes to Social Security? Are you aware of legislative changes to bonus depreciation? What things are a write-off and what things aren't? And meals are a great example of the last 4 to 8 years. How many times has that changed on what we can and can't write off and what the situation requirement to make it a write-off is? Be aware of legislative changes. Even though you retire, you do check out of the workplace. Don't check out of your local environment. Legislation is local. Know your local laws, and when things change, that is a huge threat to your retirement if you're not paying attention. The fourth one, before the bonus, and then the way that I'm going to save BiggerPockets. This fourth one, it's hard to put into words, but this is one I talked about on my live stream, and I think anybody who was in the live stream was expecting me to talk about today. So here I am talking about it, and the fourth thing. So I had 3 things to go through before I got here. Is planning a retirement that meets your strategy. Here's the example. We've heard of a lot of people saying, as I retire, I've got this 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom house that I raised the kids in. They've moved out. We're now empty nesters. Maybe you go through a divorce. Congratulations. And I'm going to downsize. Well, that made sense in a lot of years where prices were trending up, but interest rates were trending down. So you could buy a less expensive house with 2 bedrooms, maybe in a less expensive area, and your interest rate made it to where you saved money. Well, now prices are high, interest rates are high. The downsizing, people have an interest rate lock. It's not that interest rates are high, and that's the problem. It's that you have a current mortgage that's at 3% because you either purchased or refinanced in 2020. Yes, 8 million people have purchased houses since 2020, but 8 million out of 300 and something is not a lot. So most people have that interest rate lock. 42% of homes have no mortgage. So downsizing a house with no mortgage is generally going to mean an increase to your expenses because home prices are so high and interest rates are so high. So I'll use myself as an example. I retired in 2022 and was house hacking, but I was in a fourplex, and it was in Spanaway, Washington, which is the murder capital of Washington. Not the best. There's actually a bullet hole in my closet that happened while I was in Gary, Indiana, picking on Millennial Mike about the bullet hole in his peephole in his rental. So, yay. I moved to Kitsap County, house hacking a duplex to make my retirement better. Not only can I walk down, apparently on a certain day this of the week when it's legal, and take a rake and a bucket and scoop crab into the bucket and come up here and have my sous chef come by and cook crab for me. It's nice to know who your friends are. But I have a tenant living here, right? This is my only up-down duplex. I prefer side-by-side, but this is my only up-down. But now I plan on being in Thailand for 4 or 5 months this winter. I'll actually be flying from Thailand to the One Rental at a Time event in Vegas, and tickets are on sale now for the Michael Zuber One Rental at a Time event. It's not my event, helping promote a friend's event. But while I'm in Thailand, there could be a freeze. There could be a leak at my place. There could be an Amazon package that gets delivered to the wrong address and needs to be taken inside. I have a tenant on my property taking care of it. I purchased this in retirement, house hacking to reduce, eliminate, or actually get paid to live where I'm at, making retirement easier. So a threat to your retirement is not even just thinking through, once I don't need the work and the money's going to pay for everything, what does my life look like? Joe Kuhn says, retire to something, not from something. Well, I would say retire to where? Right? You're probably living in the place where the work was. Right? And that's changing now with remote work, but most people lived where the work was, maybe where your family was, and do all your kids even live in the same state now? Look at all of the places that you can move to and think, okay, what matters to you? This is going to impact your retirement. Now, here's the bonus. Here's the thing that most people, I see there was a comment. That's why. So thank you for the comments. I appreciate each one. It helps the YouTube algorithm think that while I do have a face made for radio, you might like what I'm saying. And it shares it with more people. If you want your questions answered on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a video that lasts as long as the questions do, and I answer all of the questions. So I'll take a screenshot of that one just in case. Unless I just turned my phone off, which would be awesome. These videos I'm making, trying to keep them short for those people who would never click on a 2-hour video. But the bonus is, how many people do you know who aren't saving at all? Who aren't planning for retirement at all? Right? I make retirement videos to help people get on the investing ladder. Whether you retire or not, you can continue working. But I want you to start doing something. At the CDL school that I was the president of, I worked there for the last decade before I retired. We had a 401k program. We started it. It was a retention and recruitment tactic. It wasn't actually a retirement plan. We didn't really want people to retire. You want people to work there. So now, half the people who worked at the company didn't take advantage of it, didn't even get the match. And the half that did get the match, almost all of them, tapped it for emergencies. Almost everyone that I know, outside of the people I meet through YouTube, aren't saving at all. Even though they know somebody, and here's the way I look at it. People will listen to your advice. People follow your example. Be the example. Live a life where you can do anything you want every day. Like learn tech and not how to screw up your own live stream. But here's how we save BiggerPockets, and this is how I'll wrap up this video. Thank you all for hanging out with me on this. If it's still going, I appreciate you being here. But BiggerPockets it's one of the biggest real estate investing podcasts out there. I've been on the BiggerPockets OG show. I've been on the Real Estate Rookie. I've been on the BiggerPockets Money. I've guest co-hosted the BiggerPockets Money. I'm a teaching assistant for the BiggerPockets Real Estate Rookie Boot Camps. My focus is the people starting out. Brandon, David, Dave, all of the hosts, Mindy, like Ashley, they're all great. I love it. What we've had, and this is my opinion, as not an employee of BiggerPockets, but my opinion of how we can make BiggerPockets great going forward. I think that we need a host who is retired. We've had Ashley growing a portfolio. We've had Dave growing a portfolio, growing his lending business, being an agent. We've had syndications with Beardy Brandon, right? These are all people, hard motivated chargers, like motivated hard chargers out there growing portfolios and doing that. But BiggerPockets speaks to those people who are in the Michael Zuber one rental at a time a thing, where they go, if I could just get to 4, if I could just get to 4, my life is better. Instead of, no, he does say when you get to 4, you can decide, do you love it? Do you want to scale? Or is 4 enough? Now you just keep those until you retire and your retirement is better. So BiggerPockets probably doesn't watch my stuff, at least definitely not this far into the video. You have some great hosts, but maybe, and I'm just gonna just randomly give you a suggestion of somebody who retired using real estate as an investment. I mean, BiggerPockets is a investing real estate podcast. So who can, if I just put my mind into it, who can I think of, bless you, that has an amazing life, does whatever they want every day, shares their information, and tries to get people on the property ladder to reach financial freedom? Maybe BiggerPockets' new host should be Michael Zuber, Coach Carson, Lumberjack Landlord, somebody who's pulled all of those strings and done that already. And I bet you thought you were going to say me, but I'm retired. Retired. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will take a look at that screenshot as long as I took it and see what that question is and try to answer it on Tuesday. I will see you at Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, today is Thursday. Tonight, Lumberjack live stream, live 6 p.m. Pacific. Hope to see you there. I'll be chatting in the comments with you.